podcast you've been looking for all along. Step into the life of urban exploration with guests from around the world. Welcome to No Tracers.
What's going on? Welcome back to No Tracers. My name is Kay, just the letter K, and I am your host here on the No Tracers podcast. This show is all about urban exploration. If you guys are into abandoned photography, if you are into crazy stories about urban exploring, this is the podcast for you. If you're new to the show, hit that subscribe button. And if you're a veteran listener, thank you for coming back. Please leave a rating and feedback at the bottom of the show, and I will give you a signed photo print from an abandoned place that I have explored. So all you got to do literally is type in No Tracers on Apple Podcasts, scroll to the bottom of the show, and there's a section where other people have left ratings and feedback. Leave a rating and feedback, take a screenshot for me, and send it to me at no.tracers on Instagram, and I will send you a signed photo print. If you guys aren't following me on social media, all my links are down in the description. I have Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And if you actually want to see a video version of this podcast, you can go to just the letter K on YouTube, and you can actually see my guests' photos from this episode. So this week on the podcast, I'm speaking with St. Jawn the Baptist. Super excited. Great episode coming for you. And I love this podcast, you guys. This is my favorite show to do. I have this podcast and a podcast about freelancing called Project Freelance. And I love podcasting. It's a great outlet for me, and I love hearing stories from other explorers. So thank you for tuning in. We just hit 5,000 plays on the podcast, so you guys are the best. Please share the show with your friends, your family, your grandparents, your children, your dogs, your cats. Share it with everybody. Just share it. Thank you. Thank you guys for doing that. Before we get into the show, there's a few things I got to let you know about, the first of which being I actually have a photography book called No Tracers, an Urban Explorer's Diary. It's full of my stories and my photos from urban explorations all around the world, mostly United States in that book, but I'm actually working on book number 2 right now, this year and next year. Hopefully I'll get to hit some more international places and get some awesome photos there. And make book number 2. I love making photography books. It's been a blast working on this kind of stuff. So thank you guys for supporting the art. Thanks for supporting the show by picking up a copy of the book. If you guys want to get a copy, or if you want to read my blog, which further dives into my stories, go to notracers.com/shop. You can pick up the book, or you can go to notracers.com and you can read the blog, see some photos, watch some videos, find all the stuff. The next thing I need to let you know about is that if you're not investing your money, you are wasting your money. Please start investing your money. There is a link down in the description to Webull, which will give you a couple free stocks for signing up and depositing $100 or more. Those could be valued all the way up to $1,500. So if you guys want to start investing and you want a chance to earn some free money, check out Webull, link in the description. And if you're not investing in cryptocurrency, you should absolutely be doing that. Coinbase is the shit, you guys. Look, Bitcoin is at $63,000 today. By the time this episode comes out in May, it's probably going to be at $70,000. So don't miss out. It's going to go up to $150,000 at some point. So don't you want to get in early? It's still early, guys. There's still time for you to join and buy some Bitcoin, get some Ethereum, get some Litecoin, Filecoin, Chainlink. Also, Coinbase just launched their IPO today, the day I'm recording this, which is actually on April 14th, 2021. So if you guys are not investing in Coinbase, you should do that. They launched their IPO, and it's very exciting for the cryptocurrency space. It's going to change the world, guys. The last thing I need to let you know about is that we have a partner on this podcast, and that is Liquid Death Water. If you guys want to get some amazing Austrian mountain water and you're tired of, buying plastic bottles, you know what? Actually, I have an ad for you instead of me just trying to explain it. So check out this ad in 3, 2, 1.
From the streams of the Austrian Alps comes a new kind of water. A water that is sure to raise you from your grave. If you're tired of buying cases of plastic water bottles that contain carcinogens and God knows what else, or if you're trying to lower your waste footprint, Liquid Death comes in beautifully rugged aluminum cans. Murder your thirst with a can of Liquid Death. Check the link in the description and use code JustTheLetterK at checkout for 10% off your order. Liquid death. Murder your thirst.
So if you guys want to get a case of water, if you want 30 cases of water, I get a little bit of commission every time you guys purchase. So thank you for doing that. Thanks for supporting the podcast and what I do by getting Liquid Death water. Use code JustTheLetterK for 10% off, or hit the link in the description and it will automatically apply that code for you. All right, guys, without further ado, St. Jawn the Baptist, please introduce yourself and how long you've been exploring to the No Tracers audience.
Hi, I'm St. Jawn the Baptist, and I've been exploring for almost 8 years now.
All right, so what got you into exploring in the first place? Like, what made you catch this bug?
Honestly, the first time I had ever gone to a place was a hospital back in like 2015. A bunch of my friends had dragged me out of the house, and we had gone and, explored for the whole night, and I didn't know we could do this. I didn't think that anything like old hospitals was still laying around, just sitting there waiting for someone to like come in. And they kind of showed me that I could do that. So I kind of took it and ran with it.
So your first one was an overnight?
Yeah, I was an overnight explorer. We were there
Damn.
pretty much all night, just running through tunnels and stuff.
Wow, that's
I didn't
crazy. I
actually-
just did my first overnight. It's nuts. Tell me more about that, though.
The place isn't really good anymore. It's been destroyed thoroughly since then. But I know that place I had gone to so many times, and I kind of just kept going to the same places I knew about after I had found a couple places. But then I started realizing that there was like a whole community and stuff that like had done this, and I kind of wanted to, I guess, make like a name for myself in that community. So I started taking pictures with my phone, but like after a while, I wanted to, get better quality because I didn't buy a camera because I didn't know if this was actually going to be something that stuck with me or not. But it ended up sticking with me, so I bought a camera.
So what camera did you get? What was your first camera that you got for this?
I actually got a Nikon D3 500.
Okay.
With a Tokina. No, actually, when I first started, I had a Nikon kit wide-angle lens. It was just that 10 to 20 millimeter, but I eventually upgraded to a Tokina 11 to 20, and then that's when I went Canon, and I ended up selling the Nikon, and I got a Canon T7i.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. I started on Canon. Well, actually, no. I started on Nikon. I had a D5000 Nikon, but way back in the day, like 2011.
Yeah.
And then moved over to Canon, and now I'm on Sony, actually.
Ooh, yeah. I've been looking at some Sony stuff, but Canon just always gets me right. So
yeah,
can't ever turn them down.
Definitely. Definitely. So speaking of like camera gear and things like that, do you have gear recommendations for newer explorers? And this could be a pair of shoes, the backpack you use, a light, anything that you would recommend for newer explorers?
Honestly, stuff like that, it all depends on like what you think you're going to be doing. A lot of urbex is situational. It's all like, kind of just like doing one thing and then, like trying to prepare yourself for a place you've never seen before and then going there and then trying to, figure your way through. It's, it can kind of throw, some mysterious loops for you. Like you could go into a place thinking that it's going to be dry and then you go in and it's flooded or something like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You never really know
Yeah.
with like anything like that. And power plants, you always want to wear boots because you could step on like, screws or sharp pieces of metal and stab yourself. You always gotta just kind of just think about where you're going and then, prepare for like, how old the building is and stuff like that, etc. Just common sense.
Yeah.
And
I think a lot of that comes with like the research aspect of it, right?
yeah, sometimes, you get away with not knowing what you're going into, but a lot of the time I try to know what I'm doing before I go to it because, like, yeah, I love the mysterious, what's behind this door, I don't know. The surprise kind of like feeling that you get when you like discover something and you've never seen it before, and you go in and you finally get in there. You know what I mean? Like yeah, I like that, but at the same time, I like being safe and knowing what I'm doing, and knowing that what I'm doing has been done before. That comfort, I mean, like I have been the one to do things for the first time sometimes, and that can be a little scary. Alarms, security guards, you not knowing what you're going to be going into. You just kind of got to be like ready to, I guess, for any consequences that could come.
Absolutely. Yeah, especially with, we never know who we're going to run into in these places. It could be a security guard, could be homeless people, could be
Hmm.
I've had people on here tell me stories about people pulling guns out on them. Like you never know who's going to show up in these places.
Yeah, I mean, thank God. Normally, I don't have any issues because, like I
True,
said,
true.
I'm very cautious, and most of the time, I'm in and out, no issues. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But there is a
Absolutely.
few times where I get caught slipping.
I think we've all been there. I can
Yeah,
definitely
it's,
relate. I've had some cops wait outside for me, things like that before, but I've remained relatively unscathed throughout the years of doing this, and I hope the same goes for you and most of the people that I interview on this show. But I
honestly.
haven't heard many like arrest stories yet. But go ahead.
Oh, I mean, like honestly, there's gonna be a day where I get arrested. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna keep doing this for as long as I can, and that's just the inevitable thing that you're gonna have to deal with no matter what. There's always gonna be a chance that you can get arrested, and like when that day comes, like you can't get mad because like
Mm-hmm.
you've been doing this shit for years. Like you know what I mean? Don't get mad at it. Like
Yeah.
it's just the way of the game.
Exactly, exactly, and I think more people need to understand that. Like we're playing with like fire here. We're
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
tempting fate.
A lot of people think they can make a career out of something that's illegal like this. You know what I mean? Like, and this
Yeah.
isn't something that you grow up and you go to school for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so
Imagine.
yeah. So how the fuck are you gonna, Oh, I apologize if I can't curse.
No, you're good. Curse away.
Oh yes, great. But like, I just don't understand how like someone could come into to this and be like, you know what? I want to make money off this.
Mm.
Like, I do this because I love the history of places and I love going out and seeing it and documenting it for like historical purposes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For the most part,
Definitely.
like that's what you're going to these places for anyways, is because of their historical value. That's why you are interested in it. Like it's old, like, 1920s plants are always, crazy with like historical units that you're never going to see before or something like that. You know what I mean? Like there's all kinds of, cool places.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite history of a place that you've explored before?
Um, Unfortunately, a lot of that stuff, you can't really talk about without getting your
True.
head cut off because urbex rules. But
Yep, yep.
um, there's a few. I do really, really. Ooh, that's what's a really good one. St. Elizabeth Hospital in D.C. is a really, really good one. I mean, yes, the room is trashed and it's overshot, and everyone's seen it. But like the actual history to that room in that hospital itself is just insane. It's
Yeah.
if you don't know, it's the I guess what would you call it? Anatomical theater or
Mm-hmm.
autopsy theater that was
Yep.
used by Dr. Walter Freeman, who was one of the pioneers of like the transorbital lobotomy or something like that.
Yeah. It's a crazy place. Built in 1855, the first federally operated
Hmm.
psychiatric hospital in America.
Yeah,
Crazy. Housed more than 8,000 people at its peak in 1950s, but it's been abandoned since 2010.
yeah,
So yeah,
and
I've heard a little bit about that place.
JFK's sister was lobotomized there, and I think
Wow.
the history goes after she got lobotomized. she didn't really like talk, and they thought it was going to stop like her aggressive behaviors, but it did for a little bit, but then it started coming back. So then they sent her to this nursing home in like Wisconsin, and she's like still there, or like if she's no longer alive, then she was there until she died. And her family like
Wow.
never came and checked on her or anything like that, and it was just like she was kind of like abandoned there.
Wow, we have such a dark history when it comes to like psychiatric care in this country. It's like, I
Yeah.
mean, not just America, but worldwide.
Mhm.
Like back in the 1800s and the 1900s, like we did some really fucked up stuff to people, man. Really fucked up stuff.
Oh yeah. I mean, just sometimes like reading through like the patient files or incident reports that you see in some of these hospitals, it can be like jaw dropping. It's just like, oof, ow,
Mm-hmm.
that sucks.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, man. Like, I think for me personally, I think asylums are my favorite because of the dark history, because there is so much that happened there. It's fascinating to walk down the hallways of these places and think like people used to be trapped here, basically, like
Yeah.
prisoners. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
One place that I'm probably never gonna go to because I feel as if they ruined it by.
Ooh. Yo, for some reason I cannot hear you anymore, so I don't know what happened there. If you can hear me, just hang on a
Can
second.
you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah. We're
Okay,
good.
yeah, my phone just turned off, so I guess
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, I don't think it likes when that happens. Okay, sorry.
No, yeah,
But you were
no.
saying one place you'll never go to is what?
Oh, one place I'll never go to because I feel as if like they've staged it and they've gone like, kind of sell out with the actual property itself is Penhurst in Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
Like, I don't know, like it has a great history to it though. Have you ever seen the documentary video that was released by the journalist that went in there with the camera?
No, I mean I know about Pinhurst cuz I've been to like Eastern State Penitentiary, so I know a little bit about the stuff in that area. And they talk a little bit about Pinhurst, but tell me some more.
So there's a video on YouTube that you can watch called "Suffer the Little Children." It's about Penhurst. A journalist like went onto the property with like a camera and interviewed a bunch of the patients and like took videos of just like the patients like walking through the halls and stuff. And he was like interviewing like doctors and et cetera, et cetera. And uh, forgive me if I mess up any of the facts or whatever, but like I know there was a guy that he interviewed in that video that was like one of like the head guys of like the hospital, and he was like talking about like openly murdering like one of the patients because the patient like talked shit to him.
Whoa.
Yeah, like he literally like said it with confidence on camera to this guy and
Dang.
was like basically just talking about it like it was something that he'd go home and talk to his family about over dinner, and it was like oof. Damn,
Wow.
that sucks. And then I
I'm gonna
know
have
like
to
there was a few
watch that.
hospitals that actually had journalists go in there and do videos of them. I believe there was one of a hospital in New York. I'm not gonna say its name because I don't want to get yelled at, but um, yeah, there's a video of that one and a few other ones. I can't
Wow.
remember all the ones off the top of my head, but those videos are really cool to see because you can actually see the patients and like seeing the patients where like you can see their rib cages and stuff and they're like laying on
Right.
the floor and like basically like naked. You know what I mean? Just
Wow.
for like no reason. And
Yeah.
there's just like 50
Dang.
people in like corners because overpopulation and etc.
Right, yeah. That's crazy, dude. I'm definitely gonna link the that documentary or the video expose
Oh
that
yeah,
they did
definitely.
on Pinhurst. That's I'll put that down in the description for the audience if you guys want to watch that. Do you personally have any urban exploration injury stories? Have you ever fallen through a floor or anything like that?
Yeah, there's a lot of those honestly. So I was a little bit less careful back in the day because I didn't really expect the floors to be like that. You know what I mean? Like when you first start exploring and you've never fallen through a floor, like you might have stepped on a weak floor, but like actually like falling through a floor, it's like, it kind of sucks. And like you don't really expect it, you know what I mean? Like you're just like at least for me, like I was in a school that was built back during like, like before World War II happened. So like this school is like completely falling apart, and I was walking around on the first floor and I fell through the floor into the basement. It was the first time it had like ever happened to me, but like luckily
Wow.
I didn't fall on any rubble or anything like that, but I could have definitely done that and injured myself a lot more because part of the building was
Mm,
collapsed. But like I got lucky. I didn't have to
for
like go to
sure.
the hospital or anything like that, but I was, bruised and scratched up and I had a couple
Mm.
splinters, but it wasn't too bad.
Dang, yeah, we've heard some crazy stories on this podcast. One guy, his buddy, got impaled through a spike fence by his leg,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
had to.
I know him. That's funny.
It's a small world in the urbex
Yeah,
community.
it definitely is. I think
uh,
one of the biggest injuries that I had, I've never actually like hurt myself or had anyone like really really hurt themselves, other than like a few like maybe like my friend broke his foot jumping out of a second story window of a church
oh,
because we were trying to find a way into the church and we were kind of being hot boys, you know what I mean? We weren't exactly being careful and we were doing it like broad daylight. Literally walked up into like the back of this church, and the rectory is now being used as a halfway house.
oh,
So like, they're just chilling inside and all they hear is us dragging their table from their backyard over to like the side, and then
mm,
my one friend jumps up on the table to jump into the window and he falls through the table. He literally breaks the table.
whoa,
So the guy comes out and he's like yelling at us as we're climbing down a ladder that I had found inside after I had jumped down like a 6 foot drop into the basement. And then they're going down the ladder and this guy's like yelling at him, telling him like, like we're calling the cops, blah 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 blah. So we're all like fuck you. So we go down, shoot the church, and instead of climbing out that window, we just jumped out a second story window. Well, my friend jumped out first, and we stayed behind because we were still shooting. And I guess when he jumped out, he broke his foot.
dang.
And so when we jumped out, I had like a blunt in my mouth, and I jump out of the second story window with a blunt in my mouth. And this guy is like yelling at me, like, you need to leave. And we're like, we're leaving. And he's like, you need to leave. It was so funny.
Oh my god, with the blunt in your mouth, just fucking token away.
Yeah, that was
Oh,
a
that's
fun
awesome.
day. And then like
Fantastic.
we ended up doing like some like a whole other like like bunch of other spots that we had planned out. And the whole time my friend has a broken foot. And we like get back to the
Oh,
Airbnb and this shit's like all purple. Oh, it was so bad.
oh, dang. So, tell me about your scariest exploration. And this could be getting caught. This could be, I don't know how you feel about paranormal things, but what's your scariest exploration story?
I don't believe in like paranormal stuff, because like I've
Mm-hmm.
been in a lot of places that are like, I've been in some of like the most like I guess haunted hospitals you could think of, and a lot of them I've never had any issues or anything happen to me in, so I've never really like had any reason to believe something like that is real. You know what I
Right.
mean? But
Mm-hmm.
like, uh, scariest, hmm. I don't know, cause see, like I've never really been like close to being arrested. You can kind of catch the vibe of the police officers when they kind of come up to you, and you can
Yeah.
kind of tell whether you're going to jail or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like if
For
you get
sure.
caught with tools, you're gonna like go to jail. But like if
Yeah.
you're there without tools, you're probably gonna be able to talk your way out of it, or you're gonna get a fine at the most. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you're
Yeah.
probably not gonna get that bad. And especially if you're a first offender and you didn't do anything crazy to get in there, you're not gonna have any issues. So a lot of the times, like I don't have to do anything crazy to get into a place, so I don't really have to deal with like police too often.
Mm.
But the few times that I have had to deal with police, were like earlier in times, and I guess sometimes more recent where like I kind of just like messed up and we just walked up the driveway of like an abandoned house in front of a neighbor and they just called the police and then the police come in and we're just like, oh, sorry, and they're like, you need to leave, like we could hit you with breaking and entering, blah blah blah, but we're not going to, the
Mm,
the usual spiel. Like a
right.
lot of the time they don't want to like mess up your life or arrest you for you going in there and taking pictures, like.
Exactly.
But like this, I think one of the scariest things I ever had to do was I don't know, I did a stadium once and it was pretty scary. uh we were in there for about 2 hours, I'm just shooting the place. Security was outside doing the rounds and we didn't think they were going to come in anytime soon. So, we were just going to, continue shooting. Well, they came in. And it just so happened that they came in right after my friend had got on one of the carts that was down in the basement and decided to ride around. I kind of just turned the corner. My one friend was laughing, and I was like, "Why are you laughing?" And she was like, "I tried to stop him, but I couldn't." And then I turned my head, and I just hear the sound of the cart down the fucking like the hallway, and then literally right down the curve of the stadium is the fucking security desk. So like as soon as the guy walked in, he heard us and was like, "Hey!" So we like had to run out, and I ended up giving myself up so my friends could run to the car, and I like told them to go
Mm,
because the one guy like, so basically what happened was is he started chasing us, but he was a big guy, so he wasn't exactly like fit enough to get after us. So he turned around and fucking hightailed it to the car.
ah,
So we were hightailing it for the door. Well, we get out the door and he's already coming around the side of the car and he's yelling out the
right.
window like, "I don't want to arrest you, bro. I just want to know how you got in." Blah 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 blah. Right. So this is also right when COVID started. So I guess like the guy's really not trying to like I guess like deal with that right
Touch
now.
people.
Yeah, and so my two friends run to the car. Right, I give the guy my ID and all that. I'm talking to him and I'm telling him that like I went through the front door and he was like, "Nah, I locked that," and I was like, "Nah, you didn't," because like I was in there. And he was like, "All right, I'll take your word for it." And then while I'm talking to this guy, lo and behold, my boy pulls up into the parking lot where you're not supposed to be driving your car and he's yelling out the window like, "Come on, bro, let's go, get in." And I'm just like, "Bro, I can't." Like, he has my ID, and he's like, "Come on." And then like after like maybe 5 minutes of this, the I guess like another car pulls up, and the guy gets out of this car and he comes around to the car where I'm at and he like comes up next to me and the security guard and he like looks in the door and he's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "I'm on the phone with Cap." And he's like, "Well, tell Cap to call me." So then he goes back to his car, talks to the guy for like a minute on the phone, comes back and is like, "Let him go." So the guy just gives me my ID back and I just walk over to my friend's car, get in, and we drive off, and that's it.
Wow.
Yeah. I thought like at first I thought he was tricking me. I thought I was going to jail. Like when he asked for
Dang.
my ID, I thought he was definitely like trying to like run my name or something like that. But I guess he
Mm-hmm.
was just taking my name, so if he ever caught me there again, they could arrest me.
For sure. Yeah,
Right.
that's pretty much what all they can do, especially as security guards. Like they have some power, but like what can they
Yeah.
really do at the end of the day besides call the cops on you?
Yeah, there was also another time that same person that I was with, me and him, we got caught at this police station and I guess what happened was we were kind of being cool with the guys at first and then they started trying to like block us in and like not
Mm.
like let us walk away. So
Yeah.
my one friend tried to run away and they like grabbed his tripod and he like unclipped his camera and they like still held on to the tripod and he like ran to my car and so they like ran up to my car and were taking pictures of my license plate and shit and uh
Shit.
you know, basically they're on the phone with the owner and I'm sitting there trying to get my friend to like, just chill and wait for the owner to come through because, they're not on the phone with the police right now and they're obviously not calling the police. And he's like, "Nah, nah, we gotta go." Like, and so, the owner's like on the phone, like losing his mind because my friend says some, some shit that offended him, because
Yeah.
you know, he was talking about the location and how the police don't care in that location, and he was like, "What the
Mm.
fuck, bro? I should come there and beat your ass." And then he like comes up and he pulls, he gets out the car and he's like, "Man, I should beat your ass." It was so funny. I mean, like,
Like
not to
doing.
laugh at my friend's despair at that time, but like, it was a pretty funny situation. I had
Yeah, looking back at it for sure.
yeah, but I thought that guy was definitely gonna like try to get us arrested, but he ended up actually letting us back in there, and he actually gave me his phone number, and I can go back and get permission and stuff. That place
Wow.
isn't actually abandoned though. That's why there was workers and stuff there.
Ah.
It's actually a movie set, and I didn't know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I got in there and he was like, "Man, this is actually a movie set, so like, like I've been having like people come in here and stuff, and it doesn't actually like, abandon like they keep saying it is." And I'm just like, "What the hell?" Like, this is my fucking business.
You're like, man, Atlas Obscura is telling everybody this shit's abandoned.
Yeah, yeah, like, damn, that's not what I heard.
Oh my god, that's amazing. Yeah, we I was in Denver at the end of last year, and we hit this abandoned water park or like a theme park, and turns out it wasn't abandoned, and there were like two staff members there, and they like kind of caught us, and they were like, "Hey, what are you guys doing here?" We're like, "Oh, we thought this place was abandoned," and they're all, "No, it's just kind of shut down because of COVID." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot we're in a pandemic." Duh.
Yeah.
Duh.
I've seen a couple people actually hop the fences of some like active amusement parks and go and take pictures, inside the parks and stuff.
They're super
Like
cool when
right
they're
when everything
empty.
started, yeah, like no one was
Yeah.
really doing anything. So I mean, like at that time, you could really kind of do that stuff and get away with it because like no one was really paying attention.
Exactly, exactly. And then do you have a favorite exploration that you've gone on out
I
of all
have
of them?
I have a lot of explorations that I would love to talk about right now, but I can't.
Sure.
It sucks. I hate it. But like, I think one of my favorites had to have been I don't know. There's a power plant that I did in Pennsylvania once that I had, I slept on it for a long time. It's a pretty well known spot. Just avoid saying like the name of it, but it's like RPS.
Yeah.
You can kind of like guess which one it is.
Yeah.
So like I slept on that place for a really long time because I didn't like power plants at first. My name is Saint John, so obviously I like I like churches instead of power
Yep.
plants. But the that plant kind of started changing like my mind on things. I mean, like it was crazy walking into such a big place and seeing like these really old like historical units. And like once you learn the history of those things, like you kind of start like having more respect for those kinds of places and what's in them. And I mean, like it kind of like it's eye opening, and you learn a lot from this hobby if you like really try to get into the kind of places you can go and see. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Definitely. And like there's something about like you were saying power plants that's so special, and
Hmm.
there's a big nuclear power plant out in Washington that I got to explore for 2 days straight. This band like rented it out because it still has an owner, so they
Hmm.
rented it out to shoot some music videos, and they knew that I was super into like abandoned stuff, and they had me come out and film behind the scenes for their music video shoot, and they were like, if you want to go explore, like please have at it, go explore. So I spent
That's
like two
awesome.
days filming around this abandoned nuclear power plant, got to go in one of the cooling towers. Like it was insane. It was so freaking cool. And like I love, like you were saying, like there's something so cool about power plants that is just unique to what they are, and like the history there is crazy, especially with nuclear stuff, because like a lot of that's shut down now.
Yeah, nuclear power plants too. Like, each every single nuclear power plant is kind of like historical in its own right. It has its own like some type of one of a kind thing in there that it uses, or like power plants be
Yeah.
having like a different type of unit that you don't normally see in this area or something like that there, or there's all kinds of cool things that you start like picking up on when you go to these
Mm.
places. You know what I mean? So that's kind of why like power plants are now my favorite thing. But
Yeah.
before, like, churches was like kind of my thing, but I still love churches as like much as I did before. So, like, I still do them. It's just, I can't change the name. The name's really good. So,
The name is really good.
yeah, I like the name, so I can't change it. But
Yeah, definitely don't change it. It suits you. It suits you for sure. And what is it about churches, man? Like, what do you love about them that
architecture.
makes you go back? Yeah, that's what I thought. Especially
Yeah.
on the East Coast. Like,
Oh,
you
yeah.
guys have some really cool like church architecture out there. It's still that more Gothic style. Like out
Mhm.
here out west, we have more like, I guess you could say, modern stuff. But
Mhm.
like the East Coast, like your churches are insane.
Yeah, and the really cool thing about churches too is, uh according to the area it's in, it could, be affected, and that it can kind of, like, I guess, tie into its architecture. Like, there's a few
Mm,
churches that, rest in peace, we are no longer gonna, have them anymore because they're being worked on or being demolished or something, because Philly right now is on like a whole anal crackdown. They're getting rid of all the abandoned buildings they have. So,
damn.
can't have nice things. But uh these churches, like, in Philly, like, they were built by these architects. Or, well, actually, I'm talking about a couple churches that were built by the same architect, but he was a Philadelphia based architect. So these are architectures you are only going to see in Philadelphia, and you will never see
Wow.
anywhere else. And, seeing stuff like that, it's kind of cool seeing something that is one of a kind and you're not going to see somewhere else. You know what I mean?
That is so sick. I love that. And like for me, churches, I'm always like, where did they go? Like, why did you leave your church? That's like the
Yeah.
craziest thing to me. Like you just left God's house, if you will.
Yeah. I mean, you'd be surprised exactly how many people, stop going to church, you know what I mean?
True.
Especially nowadays, like, no one's going to church
Yeah.
as much. Well, I mean, more along now, but earlier people weren't going to church.
Right. Yeah. I think the generation has definitely changed a lot. Like
Yeah,
this younger generation is like not going to church anymore, you
yeah.
know?
I mean, like, people are still, like, religious and stuff,
Of
but
course.
I guess, like, a lot of people just don't go to church normally.
Yeah,
I know, like, I haven't
definitely.
gone to a church for church purposes in like decades. I've only been
Oh yeah,
alive for
same.
23 years, and I can only think of maybe two times I've ever been into a church for church reasons.
Yeah. I usually go to church on Sundays if it's an abandoned church.
Yeah,
That's pretty much it.
exactly. Yeah, that's pretty much how it is.
So can you talk a little bit about social media and what that's done for you as a creator? Has it helped you connect with other explorers and find people to go exploring with?
So for the most part, it hasn't done shit. Like, there's
Okay.
literally, like, no benefit to, me doing this. Like, a lot of the time, I'm actually going broke doing this stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm doing this solely because I enjoy doing it. Like, it's just something that I guess keeps me going.
Yeah, for
It
sure.
definitely, like, it's kind of hard to think about, oh, I got to go home to these problems when you're in a place and you could potentially get arrested. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
first world problems. Don't need them right now.
Exactly, exactly. It's like when we go into these places, we step into another world. It's almost like walking into a portal into
Yeah,
like the past.
yeah, definitely. And, it's really, really, like I said, eye opening, I guess.
Ah, yeah, absolutely. And do you prefer to explore alone or with people?
I prefer to explore with, like, trusted, boys, you know what I mean? Like, the boys, like,
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty much it. Like, I don't really go out and explore with too many, I guess, as you would say, like, randoms or anything like that. Like, people
Mm,
hit me up to go explore a lot, but, I don't always go out because, I can't always make it happen, or I don't always know the people. So it's like,
yeah,
I don't know if I really want to meet someone right now. I got other stuff I got
right.
to do, you know what I mean? I have my own list of stuff that I'm trying to pull off right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of your list of stuff you're trying to pull off, do you have any bucket list items?
Phew, too many. Way too many. But
I love it.
a few I can talk about. And like it's not even sometimes like big things that you want to see. Like like sometimes there's like little things that you'd like want to go and see. Like for me, I've always wanted to go and see like let's say. Mm, damn, it's so hard to like try and talk about places.
I know, because you don't want to like be that
Yeah,
guy that's like this, and this,
yeah,
which is here.
yeah,
I get it. I totally get it.
and you
And
never
like, you don't
know.
want to be cliche and be like, oh, Chernobyl, because like, duh, everybody wants to go
Yeah,
there.
like, but I mean, like at the same time, like Chernobyl did start letting people into the control room, so like you
Yeah,
kind of intrigued me there. That
for
became a
sure.
bucket list spot instantly as soon as that
Yeah,
like.
yeah.
So Castello di San Mazzano is a place that I've always wanted to do. I can say that one's name because good luck. I'm never gonna be able to get in there, and
That's in Florence, right? Italy?
I'm almost positive it's owned by the mob.
It's just call up the mob.
Yeah, but see,
What's
then
up,
you gotta
guys?
start talking zeros, and I don't got
Yeah, yeah.
zeros. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel you. I feel you.
Unless you got deep pockets, you're not probably gonna get in there. And
Yeah, it's
I've talked to a
beautiful.
few of the locals, and they told me that if you get caught in there, you're probably not even gonna get arrested. You're probably just gonna get your camera smashed and beat up.
Yeah, exactly. Which, I mean, could be better than getting arrested, but it just
I mean,
depends
hey,
on
as
how
long
you
as they
see
don't
it.
break my SD card,
That's right.
fuck it. Like
Oh,
at that
fuck
point,
it.
take it.
Yep, absolutely. Oh, man, it's such a cool spot. Wow. I'm
Yeah,
looking at pictures right
the
now.
Peacock Room was the first thing I had ever seen from that. But, going overseas, it's very expensive, and I've never actually
Yeah.
gone overseas, and I don't even have like a passport. So, like, I'd have to do so much stuff in order to go overseas.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. It's definitely a difficult task to do that kind of stuff, but I hope you get over there one day. I hope that, the mob will let you in somehow.
I don't even know if it is the mob, because, like, I was hearing that it was being turned into some spawn resort by some like
What?
Asian investor, but then now I'm hearing that it's like owned by the mob, and then like I'm just like, I mean, like, I guess those things kind of correlate at the same time, but like,
Yeah, there's got to be a way. There has
I
to
don't
be a
know.
way to get
I
in
mean, like
there.
I know the place is alarmed and everything too, so like
Yeah, yeah.
there's no way of getting in there unless like you get
Unless you
permission.
know somebody. Yeah,
Yeah, and
exactly.
unfortunately there's a language barrier. There's so many things
Mhm.
that going against me in that, and it's just oof.
I feel you. Um if you could live in one place you've explored for a week, which place would it be?
Chicago,
Okay.
Chicago by far has definitely like every single time I've ever been to Chicago, I've had the time of my life. You know what I mean? I've always seen really cool places. I've always had a good time getting into those places, and I've always made good memories there. So, I mean, Chicago is definitely one of the like best cities I've ever explored in, and it's also like a never-ending playground, and it has a really
Oh
pretty
yeah.
skyline. So, it's
Mhm.
everything you could want in a city.
Yeah, it's sick. I do love Chicago for sure. And my last question for you is, what is something you know now that you wish you knew when you started exploring?
They will most likely charge you as a minor, so send it. And that's what I wish I would have known.
Perfect. Perfect. That's awesome, man. Hey, thank you for coming on the No Tracers podcast. If people want to continue following your journey, where can they find you online? Drop your social media.
At St. Jawn the Baptist, and there's periods in between all of those.
All right, that was my episode with St. Jawn the Baptist. If you guys want to check out his social media, I've put it down in the description for you. If you guys want to follow me, or if you want to come on the podcast, hit me up at no.tracers on Instagram or no tracers on TikTok. Thank you guys for listening to another week. I hope you're enjoying this podcast as much as I am. I'm having a great time interviewing these amazing explorers and hearing their crazy stories. It's been a blast. If you guys are new to the podcast, please hit that subscribe button. Episodes come out every single Friday. And If you would like to get a free signed photo print of an abandoned place I've explored, all you have to do is leave a rating and feedback on the podcast. On Apple Podcasts, you just scroll all the way to the bottom of the No Tracers podcast. You can leave a rating and feedback, take a screenshot of it, DM it to me at no.tracers on Instagram, and I will mail you a signed photo print. Also, if you guys want to get a copy of my book, No Tracers, an Urban Explorer's Diary, you can do so by visiting notracers.com/shop. Thank you guys for listening to another week of the show. I'll talk to you very soon. My name is Kay, just the letter K. Stay strong, keep enduring, go out, go explore something, and remember, leave no trace.